The Owl House is an amazing show with characters who have a lot of emotional baggage, and surprisingly, the best episode to encapsulate that part of the show is the one about the door to owl creature called Knocking on Hooty's door. This episode somehow manages to push forward the character arcs of five different major characters while being really funny in 20 minutes. This episode is such a conundrum as to how it works, but yeah, it's really good. Now, first of all, Hooty. He is a character who has just been completely overlooked until now in the show. He's a character who shows up every once in a while, delivering a few lines, but we don't see any character out of him really. But that all changes in this episode. The inciting conflict in this episode is that Hooty thinks that he doesn't help out the members of the Owl House. He tries to prove to himself and Lilith that he can help everyone. So he tries to help everyone resolve their conflict, and although he doesn't resolve the conflict itself, he gives each character the push they need to get the change they want. He ends up not being someone resolving the character's conflict, but guiding them to solve it themselves instead of pushing them off like each character does. Hooty is the embodiment of the Owl House, and the house is something that's supposed to protect people so they don't need to worry about other things like basic survival. A house is a safe place for you to learn and grow. Living in a house, of course, it's not going to make you grow, but if you take advantage of the house, or in this show, take advantage of Hooty, you can grow. Now, I'm not going to say that Hooty's story arc in this episode is something of legend. It was good, but like I said, he was the one who put things into motion, someone to supplement other characters' desire to do something. But before we talk about other characters specifically, we do need to talk about the show's main theme. The Owl House is a show about accepting yourself. The villain, Emperor Velos, is trying to make all wishes fit into society to join a coven, all that junk. Then, also after that, he's trying to kill them because witches don't fit in society. His prisms are also just called conformatoriums. Each protagonist has a part of themselves which is deemed wrong by society. Who's in the human world doesn't fit in, and in the Boiling Isles, she's the only human, besides Belos. Ida has her curse, which is crippling disability, and also she isn't in the coven. King is a demon who no one will claim as his own, and he has no clue what his father or anyone like him might look like. And Amity is the daughter of high-class citizens who seems to keep disappointing her parents, even though she is doing really great. The show is about characters accepting the part of themselves that won't conform to society, the part of them which makes them special. It's about fighting to express yourself instead of being oppressed. In this episode, with the safety and support of the house, you see what I did there, they finally come closer to accepting themselves. King learns more about who he is, Ida makes peace with her disability, or the owl beast, and Lumity becomes a thing, each one getting over their fear of rejection or not wanting to face that part of themselves. Each character takes a step closer to accepting themselves, and it makes a big leap away from where they were before, and thanks to Hooty, their house, who was supporting their inhabitants. Now, where Hooty made a mistake was trying to force his way to resolve the character conflict onto each person. If there's anything that goes completely against the themes of this show and accepting yourself, it is being forced to do something, even if it is for your own good. That's the problem. The fact that Hooty is trying to help everyone by taking things into his own hands, that is the action that doesn't work, and it fits brilliantly into the show's themes and shows that you can't help others if they don't want to be helped, an idea which we begin to see by the end of the season and a lot in season 3. The episode has so much great character development for all five characters with a lot of heart and soul, but the episode still has so much humor mixed in. This might be the funniest episode of the show. It's a hard task to make something very emotional while also being very funny. You can often get the combination incorrect and have it hurting the episode, making it feel tone deaf. But having a good mixing can bring so much life to the show and make it so much better. And often in the Owl House, we don't get much humor. They just don't try. I'm not laughing much, besides with Hooty, of course, and that's one of my few complaints with the show. And if they try to be a bit more funny like Gravity Falls, I would like that. I mean, Alex Hirsch voices Hooty, and he's the funniest character. Maybe get him in there more. In this episode, because we focus on Hooty so much, we get an episode that does have a lot of humor. I don't think we should just randomly insert Hooty into episodes just add comedy, but maybe have other characters pick up the slack. But Hooty in this episode shows that a character can be funny while also having development and having it done well. Sadly, with the final episode being just around the corner, we will probably never get a resolution to this show's lack of comedy unless we get a spin off. It's not the biggest deal, but I did want to mention that this episode is a guide of how it can be done well. Finally, though, this episode does a great job mixing the different story threads. My biggest problem with the first half of season 2 is there was so much character development that needed to be done, which was interesting, but they couldn't mix the different arcs well, and that was the problem. It felt like we would have one episode stretched out just a tiny bit and only focus on one main character arc and have the side plot be goofy shenanigans instead of working in other arcs. This wasn't a problem in season 1, nor after this Knock Knocking on Hooty's Door episode, but I think it is done best here. We get, again, progress of 5 characters, which doesn't feel rushed, but it feels natural and fun. If we got more like this in that first half of season 2, then somehow, this show could get better, and it'd just be going through the roof. Knocking on Hooty's Door is a perfect representation of the Owl House at its peak. Great character development, mixing different characters' stories together, and just potent themes, good comedy. It's such a good episode of the show, definitely in my top 3. Anyways, though, that's all I have to say. What did you think about Knocking on Hooty's Door, and what other episodes perfectly encapsulate the show? All that and more, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see how the Owl House is a masterclass in world building, check out this video. Subscribe for more videos about the Owl House leading up to the season finale, which I'm just so excited for. Once again, thanks for watching. I've been Fictional Fanatics, and until the next one, bye.